The forgotten garden secret. Our grandparents knew one of the biggest mistakes modern gardeners make is treating seeds like disposable packets instead of living garden history. I noticed this myself when I started comparing store-bought hybrids with the old varieties that had been grown and saved year after year. The difference wasn't just in flavor. The heirloom plant seemed better adapted to the little quirks of my garden, especially once I started saving seed from the strongest plants instead of simply buying new seed every season. For this experiment, I used an heirloom vegetable seed collection to bring several traditional varieties into the garden and, more importantly, to start selecting plants worth saving seed from. I've linked the exact collection I used in the description if you want to see it. The forgotten secret our grandparents understood was simple: save seed from your best plants, not just from whatever plant happens to produce seed. That small distinction changes everything. If you grow tomatoes, beans, peppers, lettuce, peas, or many other open-pollinated vegetables, you can often save seeds from successful plants and use them again. Over several seasons, you're not simply growing vegetables. You're selecting plants that perform well under your particular conditions. Maybe your soil is heavy clay. Maybe summers are extremely hot. Maybe your garden receives only 6 hours of direct sunlight. Your garden has its own environment, and plants that repeatedly succeed there are valuable. That's why I like starting with heirloom varieties. Unlike many modern hybrids, heirloom and open-pollinated varieties can produce seed that generally comes true to type when properly grown and isolated from unwanted cross-pollination. But here's where gardeners often get it wrong. They save seed from the biggest vegetable they can find. Instead, look at the entire plant. Was it healthy throughout the season? Did it resist the pests that normally bother your garden? Did it produce early? Did it keep producing when neighboring plants slowed down? Did the fruit taste excellent? Those characteristics matter more than simply finding the largest tomato. In my garden, I mark the plants that consistently perform well before choosing seed. For tomatoes, I'll often choose a healthy plant that produced several excellent fruits rather than taking seed from one enormous tomato on a weaker plant. Timing matters too. Don't rush to collect immature seed. With tomatoes, for example, allow the fruit to become fully ripe before collecting. Beans and peas should remain on the plant until the pods mature and dry. Lettuce can be allowed to flower and develop seed heads. The goal is mature seed that has completed its development. Once collected, drying becomes critical. Seeds stored while still damp can develop mold or lose viability. I spread clean seeds in a dry location with good airflow and allow them to dry thoroughly before putting them into storage. And don't forget the label. This sounds ridiculously simple, but it's one of those lessons you learn the hard way. A few months later, a container marked tomato seeds isn't nearly as useful as one labeled with the variety, year collected, and the garden conditions where it performed well. I also recommend storing saved seeds somewhere cool, dry, dark, and protected from moisture. A simple airtight container with a suitable moisture control method can make a huge difference in maintaining seed quality. This is where the heirloom seed collection becomes especially useful. It gives you several traditional varieties to work with instead of relying on one type of vegetable. You can compare how different varieties perform in your soil, climate, raised beds, or containers, then decide which ones deserve a permanent place in your garden. And you don't need a huge garden to do this. Even with 3 tomato plants in a container garden, you can begin observing which plant produces the best fruit and stays healthiest. In a raised bed, you can take the same approach with beans, peppers, lettuce, or peas. Over time, your seed collection becomes more personal. You're no longer choosing varieties based only on a picture on a packet. You're building a collection around what actually works for your garden. There is another important lesson here: don't save seed from everything. If a plant struggled badly with disease, produced poor quality vegetables, or repeatedly failed under your conditions, there's little reason to preserve those genetics. Selective seed saving is essentially a form of long-term garden improvement. And remember that some crops cross-pollinate much more easily than others. If you're serious about preserving a specific variety, research its pollination behavior and provide appropriate separation or isolation when necessary. Otherwise, you may plant one variety and discover next season that your saved seed doesn't produce what you expected. The results aren't usually dramatic overnight, and that's exactly the point. You may simply notice that you're getting more reliable plants, better adapted harvests, and varieties that you genuinely enjoy eating. After several seasons, however, those small selections can become incredibly valuable. Our grandparents didn't have unlimited access to every seed variety imaginable. They learned to make the most of what grew successfully where they lived. That's the secret worth bringing back. Don't just grow vegetables. Pay attention to which plants earn the right to return next season. Start with a few heirloom varieties, observe them carefully, save seed from your strongest performers, label everything, and repeat the process. The best seed for your garden may eventually come from your own garden. If you want to start with a range of traditional vegetables, I've linked the heirloom vegetable seed collection in the description. If this gave you a new way to think about your garden, like the video, subscribe for more practical gardening experiments, and share this with another gardener who still remembers the old-fashioned way.